Brian Kelly. I'm the monthly host of A2NewTech since last September. Prior to that, this guy down here, Zach, ran it for several years. It's a landmark anniversary. It's the 7th year anniversary of A2NewTech. I've only lived in Ann Arbor for 4 years, so it extends my tenure by far. But I looked it up, and it was end of January 2009 that it was first started. So this event's been going on for a while. Who's a first timer tonight? Hasn't been here before. Super awesome. It's always about a third or more, which is really great. You know, there's like 4,500 people or so on the mailing list. So thank you for coming and checking this out. Hope it's everything you hope it would be. So what's it all about? We're all busy. We're all working on our day jobs, working on school, and building companies. And we don't often get together in the same physical space. It can be hard if a town in Ann Arbor, while super accessible to go and meet who you want to meet, you don't always know where to meet them. So if you want to take away from this evening, in addition to hearing some pitches and thinking about your own pitch, meet somebody and carry the conversation on. It's also just come out we'll have time for community announcements later, and this is a great opportunity not just to meet somebody helping you with the business, but maybe to hire, or if you're looking for a job. All those things are on the table. And we meet the third Tuesday of every month, so our next event is right about the same time. It's going to be March 15th. Our format is very similar. After I give this spiel, we do 5 companies give a 5-minute pitch of their product and company, and then we'll have another 5 minutes for Q&A from the audience. If you're interested in doing this or know somebody that might be, the check for it is have you done some early validation? Have you validated your concept with some customers? Whether or not someone's giving you money, that's usually means it's worth talking to me or somebody else, one of the other organizers. And just email organizers@A2NewTech.org if you want to pitch. I think we're full in March already. This has been great. I had a work scramble to get January going. Now March is full, but definitely April, May. And we'll be in this room through at least the end of the semester. So that leads me to thanks. I'll start off with an entrepreneurship clinic at U Law School. It donates the space and has for quite some time. Thank you, Bryce and team. Roger is usually here. Roger's not here tonight. Roger fell ill just earlier today and didn't want to infect us. So Roger usually records these events, although I understand there might be recording happening somewhere anyway. That's why this mic's here. I don't know all the details. I'm recording it on my laptop, so anyone who's presenting, you can still get a copy of it. Let's see. Other thanks, Roger, R25 for recording month. A2 Geeks is a nonprofit in Ann Arbor that helps make events like this and others, like Coffee House Coders happen. Check it out online. I think we're still looking for a board seat to get filled on that if you're interested. We'll do community announcements after the presentations tonight. Plenty of time for that. Let's invite everybody down front. So I think if you want to plug something, it's a great opportunity to do that. And afterward, we'll go grab food and beers or a pizza house. It's 18 Church Street, where that is. On now everyone's favorite segment, my monthly podcast recommendations. So I've been trying to extend from the pure geeky ones, but I really haven't. But I'll tell you one that's really cool. I just came across the Slate's Working podcast. Who's has young ones and has read the book What Do People Do All Day? It's scary. Okay, so this is what do people do all day for adults and explaining jobs in plain language, and it's really great. So Slate's Working, and another one that was to me by somebody in town called The Full Ratchet, Startup Investing and Fundraising. Another great really candid interviews with folks. So those are my 2 recommendations for today. Now mute your phones. If you're going to tweet, use #A2NewTech. And I would like to welcome Stephen Fisher from the State Liberty Clothing Company to give our first pitch of the night. The one-liner is, we're on a mission to provide athletes the fit and feel they deserve in a dress shirt. So let's give a round for Stephen.
3, 4, 4. doing well. There we go.
I'll maybe catch you a break and you get this 30 seconds back.
So really stretching the idea of technology with this one, but at least I can do a show and tell. So just pass around one of our shirts. Give you a little background on State Liberty and how we started. So State Liberty Clothing Company started in 2014 by a classmate of mine in Michigan, Lee Mafi and I. At the time, Lee was playing professional hockey and I was working for the Detroit Tigers. Summer of 2014, Lee was working a 9-to-5 job. I was working a 9-to-5 job with the Tigers. And we both hated wearing dress shirts every day. We hated the fit, we hated the feel, we hated that they were made out of 100% cotton. We hated the fact that they looked kind of like a parachute a lot of the time. And we wanted to see if we could do something about it. So we're taking in a Ann Arbor tradition, drinking quite a bit of beer. With a little bit of liquid courage, we decided to see what we could do. And so went out and tried to find, first of all, we wanted to, basically our two things are the fabric and the fit. So we really wanted a fabric that is something you work out in. It's stretchy, it wicks sweat away, it's machine washable, it's wrinkle free. Everything you find in something that you go on a run or a lift or something else in a dress shirt. Nobody had done it, why can't we? And then on the fit side, really wanted something with more room in the shoulders, chest, and arms, a really tailored waist, something that fit the athlete out there because that market really wasn't getting addressed, and so we wanted to go after it. So things didn't start out too well. So our first shirt, prototype back in probably September of 2014. Looks like something you wear on a safari and arms are just a tad too long. Things got better, fit improved. We had originally launched our first shirts January of last year, launched a solid white and this blue check. Our first promo pics looked a little bit like prom pictures, which was kind of enjoyable. But we got better with those as well. Ben Weatherston over on State Street's done a great job working for us doing those. And it's kind of been off to the races since then. The way we started is really targeting the professional athlete market. So Lee played pro hockey. We had a lot of contacts here from Michigan, so went really hard after the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball. And all of our marketing for about the first 7 months, no AdWords, no nothing else, was tweets from those guys. And that was about as good as we could have expected for those 6 months. So we decided to come out with some new shirts. Came out with 3 new shirts in about June, another 3 in the fall, and then another 2 this past holiday season. And so going into next year, really looking to make some new changes, going after an actual marketing budget, going after a marketing firm, which we just hired, starting to really attack the press side of things. We had an article in the Free Press and an article in MLive and things like that, but haven't really gone after GQ, Esquire, the fashion side of things. And then just came out with these 2 shirts. As any good entrepreneurial do, A2NewTech, puts you $10 off. If anybody wants to buy right now, you can log on and do it. And yeah, I don't have too much else. I'd love to open it up for like a Q&A and kind of feel any questions you guys have.
Yeah, thanks. All right, questions are coming right now.
So I think this is great. How do you measure or how do you define? Like I have very broad shoulders from trying to buy a suit. They say the average difference between the waist and shoulders for men is 2 inches and mine is 4.
Yeah.
So I can't get anything.
Yeah.
So how do you? I mean, when you go to your site, do you have sort of those ratios, or do you custom fit, or how?
So the way that we've tried to really break it in the market is like one fit. So we have small, medium, large, XL, double XL. And our drop size is like 7 to 8 inches, so between the shoulders and the waist. So if you've got a 40-inch chest, you're like 32-inch waist, like that's kind of our go-to size for our shirts. Not to say that we're not going to expand and move into other sizing and whatever else, but like we really wanted to go after a niche market to make our splash, and then kind of expand from there. Things go on.
What's the price point for shirts?
$90.
Where are your shirts made? And can you just comment on your supply chain challenges or,
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of a fun, I don't know if it's fun or not, but Alibaba was a lifesaver for us. Early on when we were looking for fabrics, we reached out to probably 10 factories in the US, and nobody makes athletic performance fabric here. If you talk to Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, anybody, it's all made overseas. So went on Alibaba, talked to about 40 different factories, narrowed it down to about 20 that we liked the general look of their stuff, got samples sent to us here, spent a lot of time pulling on little fabric swatches and things like that, to the point where we got into 3 factories we really liked. I had a contact with the shirt maker. The shirt maker, we said, hey, any chance we can send you some fabric? It's a little different than what you're used to dealing with. They made us some prototypes. We sent them to our friends. Our friends really liked them, and that kind of launched us on this path. And we still use the same fabric maker, same shirt maker.
So imported fabric, but then stitched.
They're actually, both of them are made in Shanghai. So the fabric maker and the shirt maker are both there. Yeah.
At A2NewTech, sometimes we have software startups that are not very capital intensive, and like hardware startups that are really capital intensive. Where do you sort of fall, and what's your funding situation?
Yeah.
It's a bootstrap, or do you have to raise some money?
Yeah, luckily we were actually able to bootstrap from the beginning, and it's definitely, like you said, something in the middle. What was kind of fun for us is, we made these prototypes for our friends. They bought them at cost. The England people, and they looked awful too, a lot like that tan shirt up there. Just how many they liked us. And then from there, when we decided to launch, we just bought 100 white shirts and 100 blue check shirts. Sold those, and then used the profit from those to buy our next shirts, and it's kind of spiraled into having 13 shirts on sale today. Other nice part about our supply chain is that we still airlift everything in. So we actually have most of our fabric made, and then we make shirts, just to keep a few of each size in stock, which is the most capital intensive part anyway, is this shirt making, and then the shipping to the US. So we keep the fabric in stock with our shirt maker. We sell 10 medium blue checks. We order 10 medium blue checks. We don't have to keep 50 of them in stock.
So you have a friends at State Liberty?
No. I did hear from one of my casual friends the other day that they went into Urban Outfitters asking if they carried State Liberty shirts. And the Urban Outfitters employee actually got really frustrated because it's like the 40th person that's come in and asked about State Liberty dress shirts. And they're like, no, they're just online, get out of my store. So that's about all we got there right now, but coming soon.
Is your intent to stay consumer market, or do you have any kind of beauty plan?
We've definitely thought about, the retail and boutique side is definitely very sexy, but it also is kind of pain, and it crushes your margins. So right now we'd love to stay direct to consumer and do some targeted in-person stuff, stores and trunk shows and things like that at different events. We've had a blast doing that over the past 3 months or so. We were in New York doing one at the Michigan basketball and hockey game when they were there, and doing stuff with NHL teams, locker rooms, and stuff like that. But we're like store and store with boutiques, but just selling to boutiques, selling to big department stores isn't like really what we're going for. Yeah.
What's your cost to produce a shirt, and what's your total revenue so far?
Trying not to say publicly total revenue numbers. Cost of shirt is a little more than a traditional retail markup. So like a little bit more in the US. Yeah.
So who does your order pull from, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, so we have a fulfillment house over in Plymouth. Some people that are working with over there that have done just a great job for us. We have an embroidery machine there, so we do custom State Liberty embroidered SNL on each shirt, like where it's tucked in, so you don't see it, but if you're at the bar, you can show it off. And then monogramming as well there, so it's been a really good relationship, and nice to keep that machine.
One more question.
How competitive your transportation costs in China?
Atrocious.
What does that add per unit? $10 a unit?
No, it's nothing like that. It's like $3.50. But in terms of like the capital costs of not having to keep everything in stock, it's been just absolutely invaluable. And not having to project sizes perfectly either. So it's amazing that some shirts that we have, all larges and XLs, and others are all smalls and mediums. So that's been really nice.
Awesome.
Great pitch.
Ask me the question.
So really, there'll be plenty of time later on. Ask teams for questions. questions.
Whatever you
All right,
like.
next
Yeah,
up,
that.
Dimitri is going to tell us about Sophus. And the one-liner is it's a mobile application that helps college students get their questions answered by students in the community on campus. And we'll be fired up in just a minute.
Thanks everyone for coming today. My name is Dimitri Akimaru. I presented here 4 years ago with another company called Vena. But now that I graduated from University of Michigan, I'd like to introduce you to Sophus, a mobile application that helps college students get their location relevant questions answered right up here. So I'd like to talk about it in terms of an example so that you understand maybe better. So we've been all there, flat tire, right? I came back from San Francisco 5 weeks ago, and I rented out I borrowed my friend's bicycle, and I had a flat. So whether you go around campus or you can quickly get a phone with a tire. Same situation, I was pushing down the bicycle, and then I saw the bell tower. Seeing a bunch of people going in and out of the bell tower, and it struck me because I was here for 4 years and I didn't know that there's actually classes in there. Apparently there are. I thought it's just staff that are going up there and ring the bell. So it seems like, this is our app, after asking the question, I actually got an answer within 10 minutes from a student telling me that there is actually the UMS in there as well as classes. So I kept asking them if it's noisy when you're in the class, etc. It works out really well. Same thing with the bike. I went to our website, wrote bike, and sure enough there was somebody asking about the bike tire thing. And there was an answer that there's a bike pump around CC Little where you can actually pump your bike tires. So you get the general idea, right? I put this in there just because I contributed to it. I got a really good free deal at the North Side Grill. If you have your ID with you, they give you a free meal. It really got me thinking about, there's so many questions out there that we individually have knowledge about, but it would be great if we could somehow crowdsource it. And specifically, now with all these kind of platforms out there, these really don't satisfy the need of being able to get context-aware information from users and crowdsource it correctly. Which is why we decided to focus specifically on making this platform very relevant, meaning that we are taking your geolocation, where you're from, what your friends are, and taking all this into consideration along with your usage within the app, creating an artificial intelligence layer on it, machine learning in order to understand the user better, and providing them with the right information that they need. It also has to be more up-to-date, so imagine in Quora where they ask huge questions or write huge articles. We want to make it a very quick thing where you can write bursts of information into it, and then with our algorithm being able to always keep it up-to-date, so you can quickly ask a question and immediately get an answer. And finally, it has to be a delightful experience in order for this massive amount of data to be presented to you in a really easy-to-use format. So with all this access, keeping in mind, we decided to create this mobile application with a website in the background, and we're trying to onboard UConn students now. So imagine even further behind this, how it can be used not only in Android or iOS, but being platform agnostic, being able to use it as an API for, let's say, Siri or Cortana, or even be able to present it in VR, for example. There's tons of applications for it. My team, not really big, we're part-time, I'm full-time, but we're really working hard during the weekends in order to make this a success. We went through some accelerator programs, and we hope to get some interns for the summer. Whoever wants to join San Francisco at our office, very welcome. So with that said, I was rushing through it really fast. We have another minute. So thank you very much for your attention.
All right, 6 minutes for questions. Awesome pitch. Who wants to start?
Hey, what do you see as competition? I mean, there's people that make subreddits around their communities, there's schools that start chat networks. What do you kind of see coming from U of M? Where do you kind of see your app fitting in?
Right, so definitely Reddit has created a really great community with their subreddits. Likewise, Facebook groups have come to really be used efficiently. We're really focusing on creating a good artificial intelligence layer on top of it, so that basically while you're asking a question, it immediately gives you the right information to you with the up-to-date information, rather than you actually having to go through the web or through these forums and actually find information after digging through it.
Very nice.
What are you using as your back end?
Yeah, so we were using parse. Yeah, so now we are using MongoDB and AWS, which is the model.
Have you met Jason Mars here by any chance?
No,
Jason Mars is a professor of AI at UVM, but he built an open source series.
Oh, that's very interesting. Great.
So soon you meet.
Thank you. Yes.
How do you motivate people or get them, engaged enough to care about answering questions?
Very good question. Well, basically, this is the question that pretty much all these Q&A question answer platforms have. How do you get enough answers into the platform? How do you make them engaged? To be honest, I don't really have a good answer to this, which is probably a bad answer. However, if you look at the numbers of we can definitely minimize the amount of questions and answers that are being asked on the platform based on, for example, this is how user growth goes and how the amount of posts are growing and answers are growing. So if you utilize a really good artificial intelligence layer, then you'll be able to reuse the content multiple times so that you don't have to always keep asking the same questions or answer. And basically also, I had a talk the other day with an SVP at Yahoo, who was basically asking me the same question, and how Artbark, the company that started up here, had this similar struggle, and Google shut it down later on. It seems like the struggle really is he was answering a question about skydiving, and then a few moments later another person asked about skydiving. He had to answer the same question again. So if you can really create a mechanism in which you don't need to bother the same person about the same question, but be able to basically crowdsource the information quickly, then you should be able to overcome it, especially once the number of users is growing. And of course, we're thinking about unification aspects, etc. But we try to keep it simple, clean as much as possible. And for now, it works.
Question back there. How do you prioritize this?
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to, in the beginning at least, get a generous friends and family around, as well as pretty much fill out seed. But in the future, we're thinking of becoming an API company where we can give developers access to our tools and our data.
Oh, a couple questions.
Yes.
So there's lots of organizations, especially like here around campus, that are sort of dedicated to answering questions. So like Ask With Media Library, Kane Hotline.
Right.
Do you foresee having any way for them to tie in like their answers to this, or are they just going to be another user?
Yes, so I've been talking with them. Essentially, it's really hard to cater towards specific organizations who are trying to keep it very generic. So we decided to keep them as users, and possibly in the future, when we have the manpower, be able to cater specific tools to these kinds of organizations.
Is this exclusively a mobile application, or is there a web application as well?
At this point, it's just mobile application with you being able to look up answers on the web as well. We will likely create a web version as well, but at this point, it's just iPhone and Android.
In what way is the application interactive other than like answering questions and giving answers? Because I know like Reddit has an upvote system and stuff like that. Is that integrated into your application?
You can upload, download, well, you can download. You can also support a question by liking it or even want to know it. I did not really understand your question. You mean how is it different from Reddit?
Well, I just was wondering if it had like a system like that you could interact with the answers and stuff. Like
yes, of course, yeah. And there's all kinds of push notifications.
I have a question. I'm just curious. I saw like Facebook was one of the accelerators that you went through. Have you investigated like being on the Facebook Messenger platform specifically, and like that is getting a lot of attention? Seems that sort of.
Yes. So we have kind of partnership with them because we're in their accelerator, and we're using their SDKs heavily in order for that. Yeah. in order to make sure that it's as easy as possible to share questions amongst the users.
So that's active, like right now. You can.
Yes, it's active. Yeah, just go and download Sophus.
One more question.
You showed a slide of your team. How have you found getting the skill sets that you need out in the Bay Area, especially given that you're looking for interns and what's the talent scene like for the skills that you're looking for?
Yeah, so basically all except for Chung who are from yoga, people that I knew. So I don't know. The talent out there is really expensive, right? So that's why I basically came back trying to pull in interns.
So if you were here, you didn't tell everyone else until Friday you have to apply for the U of M intern scholarship program, where U of M will pay for half your intern.
Really?
But you have to.
Oh, well, I have to be here.
It's called small company internship award program. So I posted it to the comments in the meetup. If you look there, and anyone else in the company, if you want to hire to do an intern, U of M will pay for half of it.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right, next up we have Steve from Simple Continuity. Steve is going to tell us about Radar, which is a software product that helps businesses do more than check the box for compliance. I laughed because of the tagline coming up, which is great. Think TurboTax for risk analysis. Steve will be up here just in a minute.
So, banks and credit unions are mandated by the FFIEC to have a business continuity or disaster recovery program. Fortunately for us, it's required by law. The first step in any sort of business continuity or disaster recovery program is to perform a risk analysis. And if you're not familiar with what a risk analysis is, that's a material understanding of anything that could potentially harm your business, whether it would impact revenue, the location where employees work, IT systems, things like that. And generally, IT systems are a very important factor in almost every banking system that's on the face of the planet today. So we have developed a piece of software, effectively based on a workflow and a methodology that I developed with grad school. And what we're really seeking to do is sort of replace how companies are doing this risk analysis today. On the left side, we have the Bobs, which are very expensive consultants, and then on the right side, we have sort of the Iron Man, do-it-yourself mentality. And this is really how businesses are dealing with risk analysis and business impact analysis today. So I work in this field in my day job, and to give you an example, Health Alliance Plan is one of my customers here in Michigan, and they had a consultant who was not myself come in, and they spent almost $250,000 for a consultant to come in for 1 year, and at the end of that engagement, they got an Excel spreadsheet. And one tab in the Excel spreadsheet said mission critical software, and the other tab in the Excel spreadsheet said not mission critical software. So when they gave me this, because they knew I had some background in this, they asked me to take a look at it, and I said, well, is this it? And they said, yes. And I laughed, and they were not happy that I laughed. So even when you hire sort of a professional, the result is oftentimes not a very good quality. The other sort of option is that you send your team out to pretty expensive training. There are organizations that will sort of teach you how to do this. And then you come back, and you hope you implemented what you learned properly in order to hand off a pile of documents to your auditors. So, Simple Continuity has basically devised a proprietary methodology for performing a risk assessment, and we have built a SaaS platform that allows the user to input data, starting with their financials, and then mapping all the business processes and IT systems within the organization to those sources of revenue. So you get a very, very concise look at how different lines of business and your revenue streams will impact the financials of the organization if they go down. So, what do we provide to the business? A, we've greatly reduced the cost and time that it takes to perform this analysis and just complete this compliance function. We also can give an understanding of what IT assets are directly correlated to what sources of revenue in case they go down. As a manager or a continuity planner in a business, you can select any asset that's in the system that you've defined and say, if this goes down, I want to know how much money I'm losing per minute, per hour, per week, per month. So you can justify business spends to make something HA, or maybe you transition into a service provider because they have a more robust offering. And also we can get a visual mapping of all of the interdependencies within the organization. So think about change control, right? If you need to patch something, you can understand all of the downstream systems, departments, processes that may be affected. So that is simple continuity. I have about a minute extra, so I'll open up for questions.
Is the dashboard aimed at the IT staff or the C staff?
C staff. Really, when you go into a lot of these organizations, I'm right now working very heavily with Flagstar Bank. There's sort of the director level or lower C-suite that will want to view. My connection with the CISO at Flagstar, he's interested in this type of reporting, and then he has people under him that are actually doing the work of inputting the data.
Can you describe what the data input process is like? Is it an upload? Is it data manual entry?
Sure. So it can be both. Obviously, in a very large organizations, there are tools out there, ITSM, pieces of software like ServiceNow, and Aiello piece of software where you'll have like a business catalog, or you can export accounting information. So yes, you can import data, but if you don't have that, let's say you're a smaller shop, you can manually import it as well.
Have you considered using this for IT managers to assess the risk impact of different architectures?
Can you clarify your question?
So it sounds like I describe my IT infrastructure and it does some risk analysis of that. But it would be interesting to be able to say, suppose I made this change to my IT infrastructure, what is my new risk?
Yes, you could probably do something like that in the future, but we don't. Yeah, that's like that would
I
be
guess
the future.
I'm sort of suggesting that might be
Yeah.
that might be something you would be interested in targeting.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just as an IT person, I'm saying that could be very interesting. From if I get this product that has 99.99% uptime versus this product which has 99.9999% uptime.
Yeah. Yes.
What's the value of that?
Yeah, that specifically, that is actually something that we have sort of RPO calculator, where and it's not very advanced yet, but you can put in sort of mean time between failure or your nines availability, and it'll say for this service stack, your lowest, your weakest link in the chain is X, right? So you might want to look there to improve the robustness of the stack that's supporting the service or application.
What's your ask? If Christmas was tomorrow, what would you like to see happen?
My proof of value at Flagstar go really well. That's what I. So they're the first. I have some relationships out there, and they've seen the software. They really liked it a lot, and so we've got some legal paperwork going back and forth.
It's your beta customer, your big beta customer
Correct.
to validate.
Yes.
Correct.
So we should pray for you.
Yeah.
There's another company raised the previous question on risk, quad metrics.
Okay.
If you wanted to find what's upsetting all these areas.
Yeah, I think it's what we do.
Anyway, what is doing some of that kind of stuff around?
Yeah.
Your model around like you guys.
Yep.
But my question is that who are you beating? Is it more like the Archers and GRC? Is it more like
So that's a really good question. I was really not trying to go that route, but that was the folks at Flagstar have Archer and they hate it. I don't really know a lot of people that like Archer. And they kept saying like, oh, this is like Archer. And I'm not really trying to go head to head with, you know, RSA, but it's either the consultants or, yeah, that's who people have been comparing us to.
Because Archer's like $500,000.
Yeah, I mean, that's good for us. Yeah, it's good for us. So, yes, but yeah, or do it yourself or consultants. So.
You were talking about like the full stack. Does that include employees? So if a company has a sole system administrator that every system rests on his shoulders, what happens when he leaves? Do the numbers change?
So yes, that is actually something that's really important. And you know, single-threaded, you could absolutely have staffing as a widget in our system. It's very flexible in how we designed it. So you could have staffing, the single-threaded, not HA, things like that. You could absolutely have that.
Very cool.
How targeted and focused is your target customer? Is this something, a model you built that can be easily customized to different industries, or is it very focused?
So right now, we are laser focused on the banking and credit union sectors just because they have to do this. And with everybody that I've spoken to, even going into a really large bank like Flagstar, I asked, you know, what are the tools that you're using? And they're like, Excel spreadsheets and Microsoft Word. So this is really an underserved market, not so much in like the Chase Bank of America space, but in these big regional banks, I mean, they don't get the love. And so I think that there's a real opportunity to stay focused there and then branch out from there into other heavily regulated industries.
Are you in-house or contract developed so far?
In-house.
I think that's about the amount of time. Thanks so much. You got a diversity of companies pitching here, a little bit of everything. And speaking of, next up, Christina is from ALTality, and is going to tell us about SpellBound, which is a suite of tools that turns an everyday children's paper book into a 3D interactive experience using a mobile device. Take it away, Christina.
I want everybody to stop for a minute and remember your favorite books from childhood. Maybe it was Where the Wild Things Are, or The Cat in the Hat, or that classic, Everybody Poops.
Three books
Now,
I read.
imagine if your favorite book characters could materialize. Leave the pages of the book and talk with you. How would this change how you engage with books? ALTality is a company, an Ann Arbor startup, that is passionate about combining physical and digital worlds to create meaningful, enriching experiences. And I'm Christina York, co-founder and CEO. Our first product, SpellBound, is a mobile app that turns paper books into interactive 3D adventures. So you hold a smartphone to the pages of the book, like a camera, and you can see the characters come to life. You can hear the story read aloud, and you can interact with a paper book in ways you've never imagined before. So you may have encountered augmented reality before in movies. Maybe you used Yelp Monocle, or that super cool dinosaur app from the Smithsonian. Our AR is about content, relationships with content. The experiences we create are holistic immersive, and really focused around storytelling. So we create these AR experiences for books using our proprietary platform, which has a Unity front end and an AWS back end. The cool factor is undeniable, and you don't have to be a kid to get totally psyched about this. But it's not just about cool. Imagine you're 6 years old. You have a heart defect, and you're going to be spending the next 9 months of your life living in this room. You're surrounded by machines filled with buttons that you're not allowed to press. Equipment that beeps and alarms at all hours of the day. And you endure a lot of pokes and prods. You're exhausted, anxious, and overwhelmed. Your therapist comes into the room and hands you an iPad and a book. Using SpellBound, not only can you make your book come to life, but you can turn your entire room into a scene from the book. Trees grow in the corner. You hear a river gurgling. You look up, see stars on your ceiling. You're in a forest. And if even for just a moment, you've forgotten all the small pains of the day, and the fact that you're going to be spending the night, and many nights, in a strange bed in a 10 by 13 room. Now, therapists are there to help children manage the hospital experience, to cope with the pain and uncertainty, and to deal with the trauma of treatment. SpellBound supports these therapists in their work, whether we're being used as a distraction technique during painful procedures, or as an education or discussion tool. The parents of these children feel helpless and would give anything to take away the pain and the fear from their children. We provide immersive, interactive, wondrous moments that transport children out of the hospital and into a world of their own imagination. Even if it's only for 15 minutes, they can be playing. So how it works is that hospitals license their technology for use by their therapists. They often purchase paper books from us as well to give to the children. Parents can download the app on their personal devices and take it home to that book and continue that magical experience that kids for their children first experience in hospital. We are reimagining the patient experience. We're bringing moments of joy and escape and therapeutic benefit to children undergoing hospital treatment. And we currently have a pilot with CS Mott Children's Hospital here at the University of Michigan. We have 2 more children's hospitals, 2 more top 20 in the country children's hospitals that are interested in SpellBound because they saw our YouTube channel. We haven't even begun to sell, and we're already kind of facing a crisis in terms of needing to produce more, which is why I'm here today. So we need people who are passionate about pushing the boundaries of AR. What can be done with augmented reality? We need someone people who are imaginative, inventive, people who want to make a difference in other people's lives. So if you know Unity, C#, modeling, animation, or you're an AWS black belt, I want to talk to you. Here's our team now. Good stuff?
No, wrap it.
You want to wrap it up? Okay. So this is our team now. We started the company. We won Detroit Startup Weekend in 2014. And then we went on to win one of the 5 prizes in Global Startup Battle. We were competing against 23,000 people in 83 countries. We won a booth at CES. We've exhibited there. We managed to get ourselves on CNET. We have a lot of, Startup Weekend, CES, we have a lot of embarrassing moments in airports. We've had business calls with Amazon in parked cars. We negotiated our first publisher contract in a storage closet. And we have rescued each other from car accidents. This is our team. If you're interested in SpellBound, the mission, and the team, love to talk to you.
Questions for Christina? Very back.
We'll save this first. Do you have, it looks like you're only working with your own books at this point. Do you have like authors that you're working with? Or are you working with existing books? How does that?
We work with existing published books. Some of the books that you've seen are independently publishing authors, and we have one publisher that we're working with right now. This year we're not focusing on producing a lot of content. We're focusing on selling, really refining we're going to be maybe do between 5 and 7 books this year. Really focused on developing and refining that content in the setting of the hospital. It's a very different user experience. Sometimes these kids are so tired that even holding up a mobile device for a few minutes can be exhausting. And even thinking about like the mental capacity you have to even navigate a simple app. These things all make a difference. So we are spending, the pilot with Mod is really about learning how to develop this technology into a useful tool in that setting. So that's where we're focused this year. But our intent is to work with, to not chase the publishers. Once they see this and see the channel that we have created, not only for paper book sales, but for a broader channel of engagement with their content, we have a feeling that we'll be getting calls sometimes.
Could your technology be easily integrated in some of the new goggle types of technology? I just wondered, the smartphone versus that, is it an easy shift or lift for that, or not?
Fine, easy. So we are building on the Unity platform, which is a platform that's being utilized by most of the big goggles, or the hardware coming out. We have just decided not to wait for those to hit mass market or to hit affordable prices. It's also an issue in hospitals in terms of being able to sterilize equipment. So we've decided to start with the mobile application. We are keeping a close eye on that, and our intent is watching which things are hitting market first, which are being adopted in which areas, and to be able to transfer that over relatively easily.
Have you considered something like Google Cardboard, I guess, for use, which is like the goggle and applies to the phone?
Yeah. There's a couple things with Google Cardboard, especially in the setting. One, it's paper and can't be sterilized. Two, it's uncomfortable, and like sometimes these kids have very sensitive issues. The other thing is virtual reality, super cool, but can, in the sense that we were trying to use it, it's virtual reality blocks out the whole scenario, so you can't walk around and bump into things, you could hurt yourself.
So cardboard's actually...
Oh, it has the chemical in it, right? Yeah, so we haven't begun to develop for that one. We've looked at some of these other devices that they're producing cheap plastic ones that can actually, some companies are doing that, not us, that can be sterilized, and we're working with, talking to some of those companies in terms of them being able to donate for our first initial pilots, equipment that we can purchase on. We're going to stick this year with the mobile app and see how that goes and develop the content that way.
On hospitals, what kind of budgets will they pay for this out of? Is there a clear means of?
There is, like I said, we are in talks with 2 to pay right now, so we're figuring that out, frankly. Many cases, hospitals don't have a shortage of money in terms of, especially doing things that improve patient experience, improving brand. These are things that hospitals care deeply about. But we have developed packages that whether a hospital licenses it directly from us or a donor comes in, we create a donor package so that maybe a donor in the community wants to provide that access to the hospital. So I'm not going to say anything more about this.
No.
I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you so much. We're the final pitch of the evening before we open it up for some community announcements. Is going to be from Barry McDonald, who we added on literally this morning. Thank you for being available to come in. We had a last minute cancellation of the previous speaker. And Barry has a product called SmallGyfts, which is a mobile app that allows shoppers to raise money for charities by shopping with local businesses. Push the boundaries of presentation with
as he said, because I came in at the last minute, there was no time to do a formal presentation, so we're going to try something on the fly here, so work with me. I'm going to go based on my Twitter feed. So I'm going to start off first. This is me, Barry McDonald. I'm the founder of a company called Try2See is actually the name of the company. We developed a new service called SmallGyfts. And SmallGyfts basically, SmallGyfts basically allows, as was said, allows shoppers to select their favorite charity so they can pick their church, school, or other nonprofits. And then as they shop with local businesses, they can actually earn donations to those charities. If you're familiar with the Amazon Smile program, it's similar to that. Amazon basically allows you to go up and register a charity, and then any money that you spend on Amazon through Amazon Smile, they give a portion back to the local charities, or to the charities that you pick. We're trying to make that same capability available to local retailers. And we have an ulterior motive for that. We're trying to help charities, but we're also looking to try and support local retailers who need foot traffic and customers into their business. So we're offering this to retailers as a way of driving traffic into their business, help them with customer loyalty, help them to basically give back to the community as a way of bringing customers in. And I'll talk about that a little bit. So first tweak, displacement says SmallGyfts help your customers to collect in ways that are meaningful to them. So when I pick my charity, I'm always supporting my charity wherever I go, wherever I shop. So unlike the model where you go to McDonald's right now and they say, okay, do you want to give $1 to Ronald McDonald House? Very important charity, but it may not be the one that I personally care about. Instead, you pick the charities that you care about, and wherever you go, the people that you shop with are going to donate to your charities. So it's a slightly different model. So this talks about, if you could raise money for charities that matter to you without spending more, would you? Right? So it's really asking the question from a user perspective, what is important to you? What do you want to support? And the whole idea is to give you the opportunity to pick things that are important to you. We're going to skip over the PTN one. This is one thing that I was thinking about, the great problem. This was a great TED Talk that I actually found that talks about, instead of searching for great ideas, we need to be searching for great problems. So the problem we're trying to solve is really a twofold problem. One, charities, small, especially local charities, need money, and at the same time, small local retailers need foot traffic. So we're trying to help solve both of those two problems by using SmallGyfts. And so what's the power of SmallGyfts? If you look at the Salvation Army model, right? Right around Christmas, everybody sees everybody out, the bell ringers out, collecting money for the Salvation Army. You have people that will donate to that cause, but the fact that you have hundreds of people out, and what they were able to do with the story was to raise $8.1 million for the Salvation Army. So imagine if you all are a bell ringer for your cause, and so now everywhere you're going and shopping, you're collecting money for your cause. What we're going to do as SmallGyfts is we sum up all of the money that's been collected for your cause by all your supporters, and then provide that money to the charities. Go down to my next tweet. So in terms of the retailers, I mean, what we've been basically asking them to do is, if you are already providing some type of discount, some type of deal to your customers, we're asking them to rethink those discounts. So rather than giving it purely as a discount to the customer, offer the customer a deal that says, you spend $20 with us, we'll donate $1 to your charity. That's the idea behind the name, SmallGyfts. We're not talking about hundreds of dollars. We're talking about $1, $2, $5, $10 from the places that you shop. Hundreds of people going out and collecting those small gifts. And again, because you now have hundreds of people collecting those small gifts, really adding up to something that's significant. I like this one as a motivator, because it says if you're busy working on somebody else's, if you're not building your own dream, you're going to be hired by somebody else to build their dreams. So just something to remind me to keep going on what I'm doing. So our mission basically then is to help givers. And when we say givers, we're talking about people that are interested in helping their charities, businesses that are willing to give back to local charities, and of course the charities that are out in the community doing good to improve the community for everyone. So I'm out of time, so I'm going to stop there. I got a lot more good tweets, so go check out SmallGyfts, and you can see the rest of my presentation.
Awesome. Let's jump into some questions.
So are you a nonprofit?
No, we're not a nonprofit. We're organized as a C Corp, only because that enabled us to kind of bootstrap and get some of the funding that we needed to start the company.
What's your revenue model?
So revenue model is threefold. For a business to sign up, the business paid a usage fee. The business have to precede, they have to put money into the system before they can offer donations. We're not pledge-based. They have to precede and put money in so that when customers come in, the customers use the app to pick their charities, and then when they go through the checkout process with the business, the merchant will actually show them and this is old school technology, they'll show them a donation code, right? So $1, $2, $5, $10 code, and then with the app, the customer will scan and collect the donation. So like for me, I've got 2 charities listed here, Crescendo and Alpha House. Go to Crescendo and Alpha House. When I go in the scan, I'm going to scan the $1 donation to customers that the business is giving me. It says $1 has been received. It takes that $1. It splits it 50-50 based on the sliding bar that I've got. So now 50 cents has been donated to each one just through the transaction. So the business show a donation coupon based on how much you've earned by spending money with that business. The money gets split to the different charities. We track how much you're given for the month and over the lifetime, so you can see every dollar that you collected through your charities.
So the charities themselves, how do you verify that they're legitimate 503c or whatever kind of charity, and that it actually gets there?
Yeah. So we verify using GuideStar in the state of Michigan. We are registered. We're registered as a fundraiser through the Attorney General website, but we also verify that the charities are valid using GuideStar as a way of confirming that they're valid.
So they fund your escrow account from your escrow account.
Yeah.
How do you scale out in the sense of you have to go to a bunch of retailers and teach each one of them how this program works? And so how do you do that just with a couple people?
Yeah. So the way we're approaching this, we are trying to attack a certain geographic region. So for right now, we're working with, looking to move into like Dexter, work with the Chamber of Commerce to get it out to kind of the businesses en masse. So the first thing we have to do is get businesses on board, load in the local charities from the Dexter area so that the shoppers in Dexter will find charities that they recognize so they can pick. And then they shop with the businesses. We're looking for the charities to, basically encourage their supporters to download the app and pick their charities because that's the way they would make money. We're also looking for the business to educate their customers as they come into the door to sign on to the program.
I noticed over in Midtown, for example, a lot of local businesses have been using Square. How would this interact with something like that?
It doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, because of the variety of point of sale system, we've kept it completely independent of the point of sale system. That's why we got, like I said, old school technology. They go through whatever transaction process they currently go through, and at the end, they show the customer what level of donation they've earned. And that transaction scanning the code is where the money gets moved from the business account. So this tells me the business and the amount of money that they're given. The app tells me the customer and the charity that they're supporting and how they want the money split between those charities.
Just curious where you stand in terms of your team growth, traction.
Yeah. Right now we spent last year really more internally focused, going out and trying to do product market fit, talking to a lot of customers, trying to get our app developed. Right now we have both the iOS and Android app. The iOS is fully native app that can take advantage of location-based features. The Android app right now is a hybrid app that we're still working. We're really kind of trying to get the iOS version now, get some feedback before we finalize the Android app. In terms of team, what we've done is we've contracted out the work. Contracted to a company in Detroit, they outsourced it to India.
And one more question.
I guess, is the scanning going to be a long-term feature? And if not, how are you planning to retrofit it or use some new technology?
You mean in terms of using the QR code as a way of?
Yeah.
So we chose QR codes as a way, the merchant has to control when the customer interacts with them to get, because this is essentially accessing the funds that they put into the system. And this is the way they control giving the funds to the customer. So we really haven't found another way that allows the merchant to control it as tightly as we do now. We're looking for other technologies that we could possibly employ. I mean, we looked at beacons and how we could possibly use those, but beacons don't quite give you the same level of control.
Thanks so much. Our lightning 5 talks are done. Now we have time for community announcements. If you have an announcement to make, you're hiring, you're looking for a job, you're starting a meetup, anything that might be relevant to this audience, come down in front here and make your pitch, make your plan, what we've got going on. I'll start it off just to plug two other meetups. One, Ann Arbor Lean Startup Circle. I participated in this one in the last 2 months. It's really great if you're looking for a lot more like hands-on feedback of your business idea, validating it. The next month is going to go through, a bunch of people are going to have their Lean Startup Canvas reviewed. And the other one is a product manager meetup that I'm hoping to start off with. Another one is Angela Pete, and we are going to do our first meetup next month at the Nutshell office. So if you're in product management, product marketing, and you want to get other people in town doing that, go to meetup.com/A2.
Hi everybody, my name is Phil Coleman. I'm the events manager at Ann Arbor Spark. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we have a new entrepreneur focused on entrepreneur workshop for early stage companies called Spark Ed, which we've just rolled out over the last few months. It's an invite-only course that's focused on early stage companies. We have industry leaders who have come in to help you build your business and show you how to scale it, teach you finance, all these different things. So if you'd like to learn more about it, come talk to me.
What day is it on?
It's generally on Wednesdays, at least 3 times a month. So come talk to me.
I'm Doug Song, CFO Security. Just wanted to plug again the U of M Small Company Internship Award Program. So those of you who are looking for student help, U of M generally does provide some amount of internship scholarships for both working in local companies. So check that out. You only have a Friday, unfortunately, to get your applications in. But the application is listed on the Meetup website. I left it in the comments. And actually, if you don't get in there, there's also other programs throughout the university. If you have any questions about that stuff, hit me up or anyone else from the university. You'll find the B School also has scholarships, Marcel Benny scholarship for MBAs, and all that stuff. But it's really easy actually to hire students. The other thing I want to announce is the Ann Arbor Health Hack organizers have a conference coming up in June, but they have a happy hour coming up March 9th. And so if you guys want to check out, a group that's actually working on helping startup companies centered around improving healthcare outcomes and so forth, anything related to that, check that out. It's a good group. Doctors, public health folks, actors, etc. And finally, if you guys are looking, anyone looking for jobs, who's hiring? Who's hiring over there? Everyone raise your hand. All right. So anyone looking for jobs? Look for folks for hiring. If you do those hiring, go to duo.com/jobs. We're hiring 150 people in the first half of this year. So.
Well, that's probably a good introduction for me. So my name is John Wolfert. I'm a student at the University of Michigan, taking my master's degree in information science. I'm focusing on information analysis and retrieval, and I'm graduating in April. So I'm looking for a position doing data analysis or data science, and I figured I may as well come up here and see if anyone's hiring, see if anyone's interested. So if you're interested, I'll be sitting in the back. Please come talk to me.
They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And the reason I mention that is because I copied this exact type of format out in Traverse City. We call it A2NewTech. Our meetings are held on the first Tuesday of every month, so I can make time to get down here. So if anybody's got an idea and they want to pitch it twice, come on to Traverse City or Aiello, tcnewtech.org. You can ask Scott whether or not he thought he had a good time. We were there last 2 weeks ago.
I'll be there next time.
I am with the Entertaining Group, our local information architecture firm, and we are global sponsors of World IA Day, which is happening this Saturday in 75 cities around the world, including here in Ann Arbor at Rackham Auditorium. If you're interested in information architecture, it's basically the discipline on how you structure websites and digital places so that people can make sense of them, the navigation and the language structures. The URL for finding out more about the Ann Arbor event is up there, bit.ly/A2YAD16. So check it out. It's a good, very good conference. Free Saturday.
So once a month we meet here for A2NewTech, but between these events, we like to host something called A2BrewTech, which is an event that kind of deals just with networking with other people that are like-minded about technology or entrepreneurship, usually at a bar and with beer, of course. The next one is 2 weeks from now at Mezzavino, and you can sign up for it at the same page that you can go to for A2NewTech. So it's the next one. Go there, sign it up. If you have any questions, you can talk to me. I also run a group called Coffee House Coders, so if you wanted to learn how to build some of these sites, we're meeting next week at Espresso Royale. That's in a different group. That's A2 Coffee House Coders, although we work closely with A2 Geeks and A2NewTech. If you're interested, again, come talk to me or sign up for the next event. Thanks, guys.
All right, everyone, going to say shit tonight. That's a wrap. Thank you again. Big round of applause for all of our speakers. Make sure you meet somebody interesting tonight. Hang around here, and then make your way over to Pizza House, where a bunch of us will be gathering thereafter. Thanks again for coming out.